Hey, what's up guys, John here. What does Amazon, Facebook, Tesla, Disney, and nearly every large corporation have in common? Well, they're getting ready to take advantage of this massive tax credit that's about to happen that's going to restructure American history. What am I talking about? Well, they're buying out entire workforce housing villages, hundreds of acres, building out thousands, hundreds of thousands of units, 344,000 to be specific, housing units to where employees would live under the roof of the employer. Now, I think it's a very interesting concept because this was normal between 1880 and 1935, workforce housing villages. But when you look at what's happening now with the affordability crisis, many people are spending way too much money in rent. And so when the employer is able to offer a solution that's going to be at a much lower cost basis, many employees would love this. But when you look at how this whole thing works, you have to ask yourself, is this going to be a utopian type of world where an employer owns not just the hours in which someone works, but also the clothes in which they wear, the food in which they eat, the health insurance in which they have, the apartment in which they live in, everything. Potentially even, the autonomous vehicles inside of that community in which drive them around to and from work. It seems very, futuristic, but here we are. I'm going to show you the bill. I'm going to show you what they're doing. I'm going to show you how this is all going to work. And I think this couldn't be better time due to the incoming distress that is about to hit this economy and how well positioned these companies are and these large corporations are sitting on mountains of cash. Now, this won't just be the big companies. I believe this is going to happen with many companies all diving in to take advantage of this tax credit. I'm going to show you what's going on. Please hit the like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube will share the content, educate more people about what's happening in America. And if you'd like to fix your credit, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative item in your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free strategy session. Now take a look at this. So, company towns, 1880 to 1935. In some situations, company towns developed into a paternalistic effort to create a utopian worker village. Churches, schools, libraries, and other amenities were constructed in order to encourage healthy communities and productive workers. Now, in the 1890s, of remote locations such as railroad construction sites, lumber camps, turpentine camps, coal mines, jobs often existed from established towns. As a pragmatic solution, employers sometimes developed a company town where an individual company owned all the buildings and the businesses. Now, this bill came out December 7th, which would say the Workforce Housing Tax Credit Act would help close this gap by establishing the first ever middle income housing tax credit, which is estimated to finance 344,000 affordable rental homes. Right? And they say right now, America's nurses, firefighters, teachers are struggling to find affordable housing near the communities they serve. Now, this is not just going to be large tech companies. This is going to be hospitals. This is going to be everything. This is going to be everything. I believe we're walking into a future where if you are a business owner and you're making a lot of money, you're going to start to look at these numbers and say, hey, this might make sense. And I believe with the incoming distress coming with commercial real estate, you're just going to see this become the new normal. Now, look at this. So, Disney. This came out, dates are important. So this came out January 13th, came out yesterday. To ease the housing crunch, theme parks are becoming home builders, right? They're looking to build out housing units for 28,000 men and women. And they're doing it on an 840-acre theme park, right? For this trouble is the real world likely like the rising cost of housing not far away. Now, the link in which they reference here is right here, the Workforce Housing Tax Credit, right? This is what they're looking to do. Take advantage of this Workforce Housing Tax Credit, 344,000 affordable housing units. Now, Amazon, they're launching a $2 billion fund, and Amazon announces committing more than $2 billion to preserve and create more than 20,000 affordable housing units in Washington State, and this is where they have roughly 5,000 employees, or at least 5,000 employees coming in the coming few years, right? This is going to be Nashville, Tennessee, Arlington, Virginia. So Amazon's jumping in on this. Elon is getting extremely aggressive with this, and he is, they've already acquired 3,500 acres of land near Austin, right, over the last couple of years. And what they're going to be doing here, it's pretty fascinating because the rent is going to be $800 per month for a 2 to 3 bedroom home. Now think about the authority that an employer would have. Taking their current relationship where, let's say the employee makes $100,000 a year, so they're making $8,000 a month, right? They're not even, right? Somewhere in that range, right? They're making about $8,000 a month, $96,000 a year, right? So if you were looking at this situation and the employer's like, okay, I'm making $96,000 a year, that's okay, But then the employer says, hey, you don't have to pay $2,500 or $3,000 a month for rent. You don't have to drive into work. You don't have to pay car insurance. You don't have to pay gas. You can live in this community. I'll charge you $800 a month, but I'm not going to pay you $96,000. I can only pay you $85,000. And the employee still looks at this like, hey, $85,000. I can still cut off a lot of expenses. I can live right in town. Yeah, that's very attractive, right? But then, interestingly, when you move into these towns, if they fire you, you have 30 days to leave. So, and this isn't just Tesla, it's going to be Boring and SpaceX as well. So how much authority does that employer then gain over the employee? A lot, right? Because someone then has to relocate, they have to find a new place to live, they need first month, last month deposit, and they need to find a new place to work, right? Like, it's a very, very interesting dynamic that's happening right now. I mean, right here, they're talking about a master plan to build a massive corporate town for its employees. And I mean, meet your new landlord, right? This came out, 2 weeks ago, or about a month ago, December 13th, says the digital rendering of North Bayshore, a massive proposed development in Mountain View, are crowded with glistening buildings and cheerful animated pedestrians. There's a lot to show off, including 7,000 new homes, 3 distinct neighborhoods, and nearly 300,000 square feet of retail and community space. Notably, though, the gleaming images don't bear any hints of the company. So you think about this: if you're paying your employee $96,000 a year, and they're maybe even $85,000, they get the discounted rent, but all the money in which they make, they live inside of this town, and they're going to get their avocado toast, they're getting their iced vanilla lattes, they're buying everything inside of the town. The employee basically, they're going to save how much at the end of the year? $10,000, $15,000. All the money in which they're getting from their employer, a bulk of it is going right back to the employer, right? So it's a very interesting trend that's happening, right? Companies, Google and Facebook's parent Meta, conquered the digital realm a long time ago, setting up ground rules for how we search and interact and shop online. Not content to shop there. However, these firms are now making huge bids to expand their reach. They want to be landlords too. Well, of course they do. Of course they do. You think they want to make billions of dollars every single month and then just sit in this, eroding fiat currency? No, they want to invest in land, infrastructure. They want more control. They want to be able to really grow, right? That's what they want to do. And that's what they are going to do. And they couldn't be better timed and better positioned for all this. And I think that this trend, once it starts going mainstream, we're going to start seeing a lot of companies buying up 10 acres here, 5 acres here, building out these communities, taking out loans to build out these communities, using the tax credit, being able to write off all the expenses on the construction. They're going to be able to write off the losses every single month on the decreased rent that they're going to be, offering these employees. Like, it's just going to be a massive win all around. But the timing is just perfect. So, remember in 2007, 2008, Michael Burry, John Paulson, Jeff Green, all of these, very intelligent men made a fortune betting against the housing market, right? I think Michael Burry made like $700 million in his fund. Well, now short sellers see distress emerging in apartments as borrowing costs surge. Now you think about what's happening to rents. You have a 50-year high in apartment construction, you have insurance and property taxes skyrocketing, rents are going to begin softening, and borrowing costs have nearly doubled, right? So when people buy apartment buildings, they're buying these deals based on a 3, 5, 7-year term, generally on the loan. It's not a 30-year fixed rate like a home loan. So every 3 to 5, 7 years, they have to go back to the bank, and the bank is going to say, what is your income? What are your expenses? And they're going to reevaluate and reappraise this building, and they're going to give a loan or not give a loan based on this newfound value. But a lot of these buildings have greatly fallen in value, meaning that a lot of these investors are upside down on these properties, meaning they're not going to be able to get the loan, and meaning that the investors are going to be giving the keys back to the bank and to the lender. But when you have a situation where, a lot of banks are in right now, which they're sitting on a lot of losses, they're not going to want to lend money. And so when you have a large corporation that's sitting on all this money, they're going to be able to go out there and buy all these deals cash directly from the lender. And so I believe what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of distress incoming. You're going to see a lot of opportunity coming. You're going to see a whole new type of America getting rebuilt. And I believe these tax credits, what they're talking about now, this is only the tip of the iceberg. Imagine living in one of these villages where, like if you look at how these companies are run, they're all data. It's all tech. Do you think that these towns are going to be, just old school villages? No, it's going to be like a technological, everything's going to be driven by drones. It's going to be extremely futuristic. Autonomous vehicles. You think about this, all this data that they're going to be accumulating, it's going to be the new normal. This is what I believe is going to be happening. I think over the next couple of years, it's going to become more and more and more normalized. And I believe many companies, many corporations, they're going to begin jumping in on this trend as the distress starts to hit with multifamily and commercial real estate. What do you think about this? Drop below. Let's have a conversation. I mean, it's all coming. It just seems so well perfectly timed. December 7th, like every large company, all at the same time doing the same exact thing. Let's have a conversation. Drop below. We'll have a conversation about this. And if you'd like to fix your credit, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative item in your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. I believe the next couple of years will be more important than ever to build wealth. I believe if you own real estate and you buy it right, and you're really strategic in what you're doing, you're going to be able to build out a lot of options for yourself. I believe there's going to be a lot of opportunity in business. I believe there's more opportunity in front of us than ever before for those that have a great game plan, for those that are planning in advance, and for those that are chasing to get out of high interest rate consumer credit card debt. High interest rate debt. Put yourself in the best position possible on making the sacrifices now. But drop below, and I'll catch you in the next video.